Community Matters.
Hello and welcome to Many Voices, One Community, stories across Long Island and beyond. I'm Gaitley Stevenson-Mathews. I am so very pleased to serve as Community Engagement Officer here at the Holocaust Center, and I am also very pleased to be the host of this podcast, and I could not be more delighted than to be joined by my friend today, Lia Di Angelo. Oh my gosh, Lia, we go back so far. I know I've been in Glen Cove and on Long Island since 2005, 2007, moved to Glen Cove. But you have been so active in the community on so many different fronts. And why don't we begin? Just share with everyone kind of your involvement with Comité Cívico Argentino and your other involvement in the community, and then we'll hop in. I also want to talk about a little bit about how in our different voices, which are so unique, we then come together and unite to make a difference in this world. But why don't you begin? Just share a little bit about Comité Cívico Argentino and how it began.
Thank you, Gaitley. It is my pleasure to be, more than anything, to be your friend and to be here with you. I am very proud of you and everything that you do. I really am.
It's very kind. Thank you.
And about Comité Cívico Argentino, which is the Argentinian Civic Committee, in 2019, I just noticed that there was a gap between my country and this country. And I saw that all the countries were represented in this great nation and in New York. And I couldn't believe that there wasn't anybody working with anybody with my country. So I decided to venture on that. I always feel like, I know that you're a godly man and we met in church, and I always feel like God just puts things in your path. And many times we either point fingers or we see who else could do it. But in many places in the Bible, it says, when you feel like you're being pointed at, you just have to take a hold of that and just do it. And of course, we never feel like we're prepared. We never feel like we're ready. But if you have the vision and the love and the care, that's truly all you need to start. So I decided to go with that, and I learned as I went, how do you open a non-for-profit? How do you make it a 501c3? You know, you talk to a lawyer, you talk to an accountant, and you just learn. And you do it, and then one day you stand being the president of this non-for-profit, having a vision, and just thinking, what do I do? Where do I start? And lo and behold, 6 months later, the pandemic starts.
I remember that, and I remember those early years when you first started. And I will say many of us, we look to God, we look to our faiths, and certainly we're from many different faith backgrounds. But, you know, when you look to your grounding, where you get your strength, whatever that background may be, and you find that strength within your heart and within your spirit, you are certainly a testament that you can do just about anything. And the fact that not only did you begin the organization in 2019 and, you know, but you made your way through it. I remember, I believe, was it the second one that was during COVID that you had to do, or was that the third one?
It was actually...
Or two, I guess it was two, wasn't it?
We did a gala in 2019, that was right before, and then 2020, that was the second one. And that's when you were one of my honorees and keynote speakers.
Right, which I did remotely. I know some people were able to go, but I did remotely that year. And
yes,
again, just kudos to you, because you are someone who looks obstacles in the face and do not let them take you down. And what an incredible thing you have done there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So it started 2019. And so fast forward to now, how did you get to where you are now with this organization?
I mean, we literally started with just a collection of toys that turned into a big collection of toys. And then from friends like Lia Di Angelo, who put me in contact, legislator, with another legislator in West Cia Albino, who put me in contact with people in the Nassau County Executive Office. And there you realize how many people are in need, even in Nassau County. Families that you just wouldn't think that they will need toys, but somehow there is needs, not only for food, which we started buying also, but just to bring a child some kind of happiness, especially for the holidays. And so once I met with all these people and we donated the toys and we had Santa Clauses and we had different events to make it more fun for the children, one thing led to the other. We started feeding 26 families through the pandemic, and we just kept growing. And now that we're about to get into our 10th annual gala, we grew a lot. We started with like 100, 200, 300 toys. Now we're up to 800, 900 to 1,000. We started collecting $2,000 to $3,000. Now we ended up last year with $12,225. We started in a small venues, and now we're doing it at the Crescent Beach Club in Bayville, and where I feel like I found a home for the gala, for the events, and it just never stops. There is always something else that you can do. And from just the toys and the food, now we're also doing the bathrooms for the paraplegic and quadriplegic children, getting them the wheelchairs that they need, and also drilling down to the aquifers to get water. And I mean, I don't have any kind of knowledge about any of these things that I'm doing. I literally just went with it, and
you respond to the need.
Exactly.
You respond to the need. I will say there are many things I love about you, and love of how you bring goodness to the community. One of those, I love the fact that you celebrate America, and I love the fact that you celebrate your heritage, your Argentinian heritage. I think about, of course, a mutual friend of ours, Evelyn Candel. I should say Sergeant Candel, who served during the Korean War, served in Washington, D.C., also was poet laureate for Nassau County. She was one of your honorees at one of your recent galas.
Yes, that was Gala 2024. And what a joy, not only to be able to call her my friend and also have gone to church with her, but just to realize that this woman was an icon. Not what we know just now, but also when she was this young, beautiful woman, and she was picked out of a handful, and she became a face on one of stamps.
Yes, absolutely.
And and of course, as a poet and everything else that she has done, she has an amazing biography. But how can I not live in this country, be such a proud American? Because I am a South American after all, and I am a North American. So, of course, I just have such a patriotic feeling for my red, white, and blue here and my light blue and white from Argentina. And I don't feel like I love one more than the other. I just love the culture, and I love sharing, and I love the respect, and I love to just be able to balance all of these things without letting any of them feel like it's more or less than the other. And it makes me happy to be able to do that. And I know it's hard to do.
Well, it takes someone who is proactive, someone who is thoughtful, someone who is caring. And there are others who have that ability, but not a lot. And I will say, I love to see that in you. The other thing I will say, I have never, whether it's a meeting or whether it's one of your galas, and I'm proud to be a supporter. And full disclosure, I am an ambassador for your organization.
Thank you.
And proud to be. I will say the other thing, I've never been to an event that you have been a part of that there wasn't a bit of a splash to it. You know, whether the most recent, whether you bring your tango dancers, whether you bring culturally so many things to the equation, I know there was a theater in Dallas many years ago, and these slogans, everybody steals from everybody else, but I think the slogan was "Expect the unexpected." And one of the magical things and one of your gifts that I feel you bring to the equation, while you're feeding people and while you're building bathrooms for paraplegics, and while you're doing all of this, is that you bring such style and people just feel the joy. And oh my gosh, I think about your drummers who you have, and you have such, culturally, you bring so many things together. How I'd like to ask, because certainly after the Holocaust, there were so many Jews who were welcomed in Argentina, and some of our South American countries were much more welcoming than other countries. People sometimes find that surprising when they walk through the Holocaust Center. Was there anything particular in your growing up that you carry with you today that makes you who you are?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, going back to those 1941s, 1942 years, I feel like Argentina is a melting pot, just like New York is. And pretty much half the boats went south and half the boats went north. And that's where we have such a concentration of Jewish people in Argentina, where they have Polish background, Russian background, or from Israel, or whatever they may be. We grew up with all of this. Now, in Argentina, I don't feel, at least when I lived over there, that we were as united as we are here. I think one thing that I learned from this country is that everybody professes their religion and their background and their culture in such a manner that eventually everybody realizes that we are more alike than different.
Yes, yes.
And there is something, and I don't think I can say that I got it from home, but you do have to remember that I did get to this country at 17 years old, so I pretty much am more from here than from my country at this point. But the empathy and compassion that you are able to grow as you learn more and as you realize more, and as a mother, I have such love, not only for my children, for my 1,100 children that I am the godmother in Argentina, and everything that I do with the community of children here. You hear the stories, you watch the movie, you read the book, and how can you not feel the pain and suffering?
Right.
How can you not?
Right.
So when you allow this to flare, when you allow this to take purpose in your life, and you know that even though what you could do is perhaps just a grain of sand, but united with everybody else that has the same love and care, it will build to be something amazing.
Right.
And that's some people are just afraid of showing love because they're going to get hurt.
Or they feel it's weakness, that somehow
exactly.
being bold and mean and rude is somehow seen as strength. Whereas, I was fortunate that I had a family that showing compassion was strength. That's what real strength is. But I could not agree more. I
told somebody not too long ago that to love, you have to be brave.
I agree.
You cannot love and be a coward.
I agree. There's a famous line, what is the professor's name in Bus Stop? And he's somewhat intoxicated, and he's doing a Shakespeare speech, and at one point he says, I never had enough generosity to love. I was afraid somehow it would lessen me. And I do think it takes real generosity. You have to be brave, and you have to be strong. And sometimes you have to be bold. But it does take great generosity and great bravery to be able to do that. And again, with your work with Comité Cívico Argentino, with your work in community, there's an Episcopal bishop, and I actually don't agree with everything he says. And in fact, with faith leaders, I do know there's some who feel like, oh, you've got to agree everything on this and everything on that. But I do love this quote from him, and I'm paraphrasing. And he said, I don't need you to become part of my religion, and don't ask me to be part of your religion. I just want us to be so strong in our own faiths that we see the common thread.
Amen
and
to that.
I think that's it. I think that is it. If we can find in ourselves the thing that allows us to, instead of always expressing our opinion, always saying this is the way it has to be, listen and have the opportunity to learn that one, more is gained when we know each other. More is gained when we learn from one another. But I do think it takes some bravery and some risk and some generosity.
Especially after you get hurt, because many times when you're the kind of person that opens your heart to help others, you're the first one that if something goes wrong, you're gonna get hurt. But you do have to be brave to shake it off and move on and keep doing it again and again and again.
Right.
Which is, is something that we have to do at all times. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship, if it's a family member, if it's a business situation. It really doesn't matter. It's going to happen to you at some point or another.
Right.
And sometimes the people that are closest to you, sometimes people in your own congregation or your own family. So you do have to be bold, and you do have to just keep thinking that the vision that you have is going to keep growing. There is somebody behind every organization, every non-for-profit, that sat one day with an idea. Whether it's a cancer society, whether it's the March of Dimes, there is one person there that sat with a vision, that thought, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I feel like I have to do something. And started doing it. And then one thing led to another and led to another. And that's what I think every day when I want to complain about something, when maybe I feel like the work that I'm doing is not, maybe it's not giving me everything that I deserve, when I feel like I'm in a recycling situation, whether, you're just working so hard. And
on a treadmill.
It's just a treadmill. It just feels like you're not getting to the end. And that little light at the end of the tunnel, it feels like it's always just as little. But I was at a breakfast meeting this morning with business people, and they asked everybody, about 20 of us, one by one, what was it that we did to make sure that our business was successful? And everybody talked about different things, whether it was going to the gym at 4 a.m. in the morning, whether it was talking to themselves while they were taking a shower, while it was listening to a podcast or whatever it may be. When it got to me, I said, you know what, I pray. Because I feel like if I pray in the morning and I give thanks to God for everything that I have, and it doesn't have to be, of course, things that are tangible, just my children, my family, our health, to be able to have a heart to give, to share, to be able to be compassionate and empathetic. And yet I know I'm not a perfect person, because I'm not trying to make it sound like I never have moments where I wish I had this, or I wish I could do that, or I wish I could go on a vacation, or I wish I had more money, but never in my life, when I think of those things, I don't think of sharing what I have.
Right.
Because anytime I think of anything that I will want, that means I will do more for others. If I could do as much as I do with nothing, imagine if I had some.
Right.
Imagine if I had more. So the truth is that there is really never an end to the story. I don't think you could ever think like you've done enough. And think of the Schindler's List. When he stands at the end of the movie and he sees all the kids and families living on the train, and he says, with this watch, I could have bought another family. With this car, I could have bought another wagon full of people. So you look at those things, you think of those things, and it's like, if he felt like that, and he saved thousands of families from being killed, imagine how we should feel, how much more we could do.
No, absolutely.
Can't even think about that without getting goosebumps.
No. And I of course, this is HMTV at HMTC, so we're at the Holocaust Center. And certainly every age, every ethnicity, every religion, you name it, they walk through these doors, and they have the experience oftentimes of hearing from a survivor of the Holocaust, or our docents oftentimes who are second generation, so their parents or grandparents lived it. And those stories make such a difference. And what I love, you and I, neither of us are Jewish.
We're not.
But again, that common thread of humanity and doing what is right. Sometimes it's just do what is right. That's it. That's, where there are evil things and evil ways in the world. But the majority of our religions, if you really peel back the onion, is about doing what is right, doing what is good, doing what is humane. The humanity matters. That's what matters. And just a shout out to Bernie for really creating this studio and creating what we're doing here today. But at the end of the day, whatever your background, that is what matters. Doing the right thing, being kind to one another. As you know, again, I don't know when these are going to air or what order. And by the way, on my list is Evelyn Candel. So Evelyn, we're coming after you. So that's so you all please look for future podcasts, including Evelyn, who was just an incredible person.
And Gustavo Gaitley?
Yes, Gustavo. He's on my list as well. So Gustavo is coming. So Gustavo is, of course, the cantor at Tifereth Israel, and a good friend of both of ours. And certainly we've known him a long time. And he will have such stories to tell. And
Gustavo is from Argentina. So I have a lot of things in common with him. And he's going to sing the Argentinian hymn at hopefully the next gala. But yes, look at this friendship. To be able to just sit with your Jewish friends to celebrate an event that's important to them, to be able to celebrate the lights of the menorah at the same time that we could celebrate Christmas, to be able to just celebrate Passover at the same time that we celebrate Easter. There is something to be said about all these things. And I am just happy and blessed that I have all these friendships. And I've said it many times at my galas, I am so proud of being in this room with over 150 people and to be able to say that I have all of my friends here. It doesn't matter the color, the race, the religion, the culture, the background. We are all here to celebrate each other, to care for the children that need more, and to really put our lives aside for 1 second, stop thinking about ourselves, and just do something for others.
Absolutely.
And there is such a beauty in that.
And I will tell you that is a perfect segue for wrapping this up. Humanity matters, caring matters, and it's been such a treat to have you as a guest on our podcast. And again, we are many voices, one community, stories that unite us across Long Island and beyond. And Lia, thank you so very much. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And that's it for this one. Please look for us on HMTV at HMTC HMTC. Thank you so very much. Do you want to say anything else to close it out, Lia?
Well, I'm going to bring it back to a secular and just think of Imagine, the song.
Imagine.
Imagine all the people. Imagine all the countries. And when we all go to heaven, what a wonderful moment of victory that will be.
Yes, absolutely.
Amen.
Thank you all so very much. Thank you.